Wales versus Ireland. What were our sort of reactions to that game?
Domination,
Yeah.
literal domination from Ireland. I don't think it was ever close. Like, just nowhere near the standard of Ireland.
I,
I
I
mean, there was literally 20 minutes gone, and you saw Warren Gatland. Like the camera went to him, and you just knew he's had his work cut out from then. Like he has his head dropped leaving the coach. So I just thought it was a bit of a dominated performance from Ireland.
I mean, Ireland just showed just how many, like, all across the board, they've got world-class players, especially in the pack. Like, the way they can carry, they're so dynamic. They get over the game line almost every single time. And then from there, it's just easy.
I think, yeah, I completely agree with what you guys say. I think I did see a few uncharacteristics from Ireland, which uncharacteristic mistakes from Ireland, which better teams would probably pounce on. Wales, there were some chances whilst Ireland did dominate that they didn't take, which if they did, then the game becomes a lot more closer. You know what I mean? Twice in that first half, if we're looking at towards the end, the missed kick, the grubber that was, I think Jack Morgan tried to put a grubber through for Tipperick and he couldn't get on the end of that. And then Rio Dyer failing to dive on the ball. But those are like crucial moments that a team like France will pounce on.
I also think there was a lot of good performances from Joe Hawkins. I thought he was very good in midfield. He really put his name up for the starting. And I think Rio Dyer, other than that, when he failed to drop on it, he was class all game. So I think there was some highlights in the Wales team.
Few good young players coming through, but I think what Wales would be most disappointed about is like line out, just set piece in general. They've got a very experienced pack, players like Ken Owens, Alan Wynne-Jones, and with that experience, you expect like at crucial times, crucial lineouts, they get it right, and then there are a few loose throws, poorly timed jumps in the lineout, where that kind of stuff is what wins games at international level. So
I think Doris for Ireland had a real good performance. And he was seriously good. The way he carried it and his jackling abilities and everything like that, he was a class above any other Welsh forward, I think.
I think it's quite interesting because last episode, obviously, Rowan and I were talking about how the Wales, if anybody was going to make a difference, Wales on Saturday, it was going to be the Welsh back row. But Tipperick and Faletau completely failed to impose themselves into that game. There was just from the both of them uncharacteristic mistakes again, and things that really could have tightened the gap. They were unable to get anywhere near the Irish pack in the weekend.
I think Wales forwards just got completely outclassed. It was night and day. It was like boys v men, to be honest. Ireland's pack, which is so cohesive, every set piece, well, most of the set pieces were dominant. It's just Wales couldn't handle it.
Think of Hugo Keenan getting man of the match.
Deserved.
Yeah.
I personally didn't see his imprint on the game compared to someone like a Josh van der Fleer, a Caelan. Those were and James Ryan as well. Those three players put their hand up massively over Hugo Keenan. But I mean, at the end of the day, who really cares? It's man of the match. They got the win. They won't be too bothered about it.
I found it quite interesting with Ireland because usually they're very expansive with their play, but in the weekend they didn't really force anything. A few forward phases, but when things weren't working, kicking the ball. And I think we were talking last week about the importance of kicking in rugby now. And even if you see what James Lowe did in the first half, just a simple kick to put pressure on the Welsh back three. Ireland, I think, didn't really have to use that much this weekend. I don't think they were tested at all.
I think the reason why that, I think we're seeing a very different Irish team. I think we're seeing quite a mature Irish team. I think they know how to play the game. I mean, James Lowe, he hasn't been around the Ireland setup for too long, but he understands how Ireland play. And I think once you go into the Ireland squad, you do follow suit with how Ireland want to play. There's a vision with Ireland, which I think is really impressive.
100%. And I do also think Liam Williams for Wales, we're talking about a few beacons of hope for Wales. If Wales were going to rebuild a team and, incorporate young players, which is what people are talking about, like guys like, Christ Shinza coming into the first team, a personal favourite of mine, Liam Williams is somebody that has to stay with the Welsh team, in my opinion, and, bolster those young guys because he was fantastic on the weekend.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think coming off the bench, Tommy Raffel put his marker down?
Yeah. I thought there's a lot of good young back rowers coming through for Wales. They just need they need to find the mix of experience. I think the most disappointing thing about Wales was the fact that their experienced players let them down, and their young players are the ones really putting their hand up at the moment.
So would you say it's time to just do a complete jettison and get rid of the older players, even in a World Cup year?
Well, I'd say like you can't like they have to play this weekend basically. You
Mm.
can't put in those of young players now. It's too late. Like you just have to trust them and trust that they'll put things right because they've been in the system for long enough to know how to bounce back from games, etc. So you just have to let them do their thing now. It's too late. It's too late.
Yeah.
How did you think Conor Murray played? I mean, before kickoff, he came into the squad. What's your opinion on him?
I don't.
How he played?
I don't think he did anything amazing, but he didn't need to. He just had to. Standard performance was needed from him, and that's what was got. I think for me, Jamison Gibson Park is still the clear number one for Ireland, but Murray's a very good backup.
There was question marks over Murray's like speed and how he could keep out of Ireland's play, but I don't think that was a question on the weekend. I think he did keep out of it.
Yeah, I was just going to say he was in an armchair the whole game basically. All at every ruck, front foot ball. He didn't have to backtrack for anything, and he was kicking on his terms as well. So same as players like James Lowe with his left foot. Every kick he made was on his own terms, off the back of good set piece or front foot ball.
I think against France, I think Conor Murray will get almost exposed because he won't be in an armchair. He'll have to fight, he'll have to work for every ball, he'll have to put a lot more effort in. So I feel like that game, if he's playing, which I think he is, it might be a lot more difficult for him.